Hey everyone, welcome back. So another good day in miners and Bitcoin. We're kind of getting used to this, aren't we? Not really. I'm not. I want more of this. But Bitcoin was good today, was in the green. Miners were also in the green today. We have quite a few things to talk about. Obviously, the short interest on the miners is falling as well. For a majority of the miners, at least, we have some that are going up. We'll take a look at that. But we have also too many bullish stories to list here, so we're going to go through those all later on. Also, Aiden from Hive did respond back to me. It looks like we might be looking for a live interview stream on Friday, possibly at 5:30. That's kind of the tentative date and time right now. So get your questions ready for that. I'll make sure you guys are aware of it as well and all that stuff. So that might be interesting. Maybe it's going to be something new that we start here on Fridays. Do an interview with a CEO or something. If it goes well, right? If you guys enjoy it, maybe we'll do something like that and go forward from there. But we got to go through this. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And definitely pound that like button there. So it doesn't cost you guys anything. It does help me out, though, tremendously. So I would appreciate it. But let's take a look at what happened with Bitcoin here, the miners, and everything else that we have to talk about. So Bitcoin rebounded nicely today. It was up approximately 1.29%. So it came back to kind of where it started out on Monday, yesterday. We're down in the red a little bit for the new day here, but we were up nicely in the green. We did come down to a low of 101,447. We had a high today of 105,038. But we came down and closed at 104,131. So overall, pretty good. We're staying above the 104,000 mark, at least. We closed above it. We are just a little bit below it right now at 103,643. So that was good. CPI data also came in today. That was good, right? It was down. It's 2.3. We'll take a look at it. I think it's in one of my X posts that I'm going to talk about also. So that was good there. That may lead to the Fed possibly lowering rates, or at least there's a possibility of increases at least. So that's good. And then the markets did pretty good today, except for the Dow Jones. That was down towards the end of the day here. But everybody else, miners did really good today. So let's go through those as well, and we'll get to all the stories that we got to talk about. So Bitfarms was up nicely today, 6.42% on the day. It is getting close to the 100 simple day moving average. We're getting there. BitTier was up a little bit, 1.76%. It came back down to the 100 simple day moving average, touched it, and kind of bounced off of it. So that's acting as support for it right now. Cypher was up nicely as well, 8.89%. Still a ways to go from the 100 simple day moving average. That one's got a ways to go. Cleanspark was up 3.95%. Came close today to the 200 simple day moving average. If we can get there and close above it, then might be open skies for us here going forward. There were a number of Rex provided this. If you guys follow Rex on X, he's been providing quite a few analysts and I think they're analysts. They're whatever investment companies, investment firms. They provided updates on Cleanspark for buy ratings and increased price targets. So it's looking pretty good for Cleanspark there. CORZ was up also quite nicely, up 3.64% today. It's also getting close to 100 simple day moving average. Hive was up nicely, 5.95%. Again, we'll have an interview with possibly Aiden. Or is it Aiden? I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. But we'll have that possibly on Friday at 5:30, right? So get your questions ready for that. Hut 8 was up also really nice, 6.31%. It came close to the 200 simple day moving average here. It touched it, and it kind of fell below it a little bit. So that might be working as resistance until we can push through that forward. IREN was up also really nice, 8.12%. It's still got ways to go to get to the 100 simple day moving average, but that one has been doing better. I'm actually in the green now in IREN by like 1 or 2 percentage points. So I was down quite a bit. I was down at one point, I think like 24, almost 28% on that one when it bottomed out here. So that was kind of painful, but held on to it, and it's doing much better now. Mara was up just a little bit, 2.63%. It's above the 100 simple day moving average, getting close to the 200 simple day moving average there. Riot was up just a little bit, or well, it was up nicely. It was up better than Morrow, 4.14%. It's getting close to the 200 and 100 day moving averages. And Wolf was up 10% again today. It's having a nice little rally here. Also, and it's still a little bit of ways away from the 100 day and the 200 simple day moving average. MicroStrategy was up 4.13% today, kind of bounced from where it was yesterday. Galaxy was up another 3.52%. I mean, this thing has had a nice run up here. We got a story to talk about Galaxy as far as what they hodl in Bitcoin. And then Coin got on the S&P 500, right? That's what happens when you get on the S&P 500. The stock rallies had a nice, really nice day up, almost 24%, 23.97% on the day. Semler was up also nicely today, 5.34%. GME was up just a little bit. Small miners, Annie, for some reason, was up 19%. Is this following the same kind of trajectory, or maybe investors are thinking that maybe Annie, Sphere 3D, might be a candidate for a merger with somebody that wants to go public relatively quickly here? Kind of like what we're seeing with American BTC and Griffin, right? So there's one that might be, somebody might be front running that. We'll see if anything happens with that. Argo was up just a little bit, it wasn't up a little bit, it was up 7.25%. Bit Digital was up 4.19%. Digihost, DigiPower was up 2%. DMG was up 11%. Mawson was down 4.6%, and Canon was up 6.2% above the 50 simple day moving average. It closed above it, so that's a good sign for that. The ETFs for miners are pretty good. BitQ was up 5.8%. BKCH was up 6.4%. DEP was up 6.1%, and WGMI was up 5.26%. So those are looking pretty good there. Griffin was actually down today, 9.86%. Right, it got a little too hot there after the news came out. So a little pullback was definitely needed, and I think that's a good thing. We'll see where it continues going forward. We'll get some more details as we get closer to the merger with American BTC with them. All right, so there's that. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here right now. On the quarter, it's up 26.14% as of right now. May is looking still good, 10.58% so far in the green. Bitcoin ETF inflows, let's see what we got going on here today. Looks like we had negative so far. I mean, nobody really sold here except for, who was that? Fidelity sold about 91 million. We'll see what BlackRock does if BlackRock continues to buy in. But we're seeing some of these guys not having much action happening here. I wonder if they're going to eventually close those ETFs potentially, if there's not that much action going on with them. All right, let's get into the bullish news stories that we're not bullish enough on. And these are all things that I believe are going to lead to a rally in Bitcoin going up much higher than we anticipate. We've been talking about this ad nauseum, I think, over the last, I would say, 6 months to a year, maybe, even about all the adoption that we're seeing here. And this is just a continuation of this. It's going to be possibly a really good 2025 for us. This is also on inflation, right? So I talked about that a little bit in the beginning here, but good. Tuesday, U.S. inflation fell to 2.3 in April, the lowest since 2021. April CPI inflation falls to 2.3 year over year, so estimated was 2.4. So that was a good, we're down from that. Core CPI was a 2.8, estimated was also 2.8, so that's about the same. But the main one here, 2.3, came down. So it's looking good. It looks like we might get some rate cuts from the Fed, maybe. But at least I think it improves the possibility of it happening. The chances increase with inflation coming down here. Next here is the SEC says Dell can skip a shareholder's proposal asking it to assess Bitcoin for its treasury. This is huge news for corporations. Reason, it's considered part of ordinary business operations, not a matter for shareholder vote. So we've seen this with Microsoft, when Microsoft brought it up to shareholder vote, right? Even if they wanted to do it, they brought it up and the shareholders there voted against it. This gives companies a way to not ask permission from the shareholders. If they want to have Bitcoin on the balance sheet, they can go right ahead and do it. Right? This is great news. We don't have to, rely on older investors that are not maybe as wise or educated on the pros. And obviously there's some cons to Bitcoin, but mostly pros to Bitcoin. So this is great news. This makes it easier for corporations to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Next story here. Breaking, the U.S. Treasury plans to meet Bitcoin and crypto key players for a closed-door roundtable this week. Would love to be a fly on the wall at that meeting, see what the heck are they talking about. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure it's going to be all good news for crypto and Bitcoin and all that in general. We have a relatively pro-crypto administration right now as it is. So that's good news there, right? Next is just in, Jack Mallers, 21 Capital, and Tether buys 4,812 Bitcoin for 458,700,000. Right, they're stacking Bitcoin as well. It's going to be MicroStrategy or Strategy now, and these guys here to 21 Capital that are going to be going head to head. Strategy obviously has a much wider lead than what they have right now at 21 Capital, but we'll see how they continue to do going forward, and can they catch up to Strategy? I don't think they can, but they're going to make the best effort out of it possibly. Remember, Strategy was buying at much lower prices than where these guys are going to be buying, so they're going to be having to spend a lot more cash to get close to where Strategy is right now. But it's still awesome to see that we have this kind of competition here in the space where companies are now forming to basically hodl as much Bitcoin as they can. It's just crazy. It's wild. Think about it just going back a couple years. Would we have seen this? No. Well, we saw Strategy doing it, but we didn't see this type of action where we got more and more companies buying Bitcoin and putting it on their balance sheet. And some companies just forming just to do that. So adoption. This is great news. This is what's going to lead us to much higher prices in Bitcoin. Next year is billionaire Novogratz Galaxy Digital just revealed holding 12,830 Bitcoin worth over 1 billion. That puts them it'll probably put them in front of Cleanspark right now. I think Cleanspark's got like 12,100, something like that. But that does put them in front of them, just behind Riot, I believe. Riot has more. Riot's got like 18,000 Bitcoin. So they're definitely up there quite a bit. They revealed that in their quarterly results here, and they should be going public on the NASDAQ. I think it's May 16th, I think. So it's coming up here in a couple of days, if that's the case. So great news there, right? They're hodling Bitcoin also like crazy. Next here is Latin America's largest e-commerce company, Mercado Libre, buys 400 Bitcoin. Countries across the world are buying Bitcoin. Adoption. Great news. This is awesome for us. We should be excited about this. And then next year, Tether buys another 4,800 more Bitcoin for 458 million. They just passed 100,000 BTC. Buckle up. So now you got Tether 21, Sailor. You got other companies across the world. You got Semler, also Scientific. Oh my gosh, you got so many other ones that are buying it also. But yeah, this is all fantastic news. This is what we want to see. We want to see adoption. And the more these companies buy, the more it takes Bitcoin off the exchanges, the OTC desks, everything else. It's going to put a squeeze on Bitcoin to the upside quite nicely, I believe. Next here is, this is kind of nice, kind of funny to take a look at. Well, maybe not funny, kind of sad actually. While weekends are going to regret this very soon. So this is changing Bitcoin ownership in 2025. And you can see your businesses. Businesses are accumulating like crazy. 157,000 Bitcoin accumulated from those funds and ETFs, 49,000 Bitcoin. Other includes changing Bitcoin to be mined, BTC held, smart contracts, and estimated Bitcoin cost. So that's what the other is. That was up 21,000. And then governments up 19,000 Bitcoin. While individuals, plebs, we're selling 247,000 Bitcoin. So what does that tell us? That tells us that possibly the smart money, the big guys, know something is happening while individuals are, well, I'm saying it's probably not the best thing to do, but there are occasions where I think, selling Bitcoin is a necessity. If you lose your job or something like that and you need to pay for things, food, things like that, if you have Bitcoin, you're going to have to use that. But other than that, I think you need to be more patient with it and hold it for a much longer time frame than what we've seen here, right? Getting to 200,000 is nice, but we're not done. We're not nowhere near being done with Bitcoin going up in the next couple of years here. So hold on to it as much as you can. Don't sell it to the other businesses and everything else that are stacking Bitcoin for a much longer period of time frame. Do not sell your sats to those organizations. Hold on to them. You'll be rewarded in the long run. Next here also is Plan B says Bitcoin RSI is at 69 and expects 4+ months of 40% gains, potentially sending Bitcoin from 104,000 to 400,000. Okay, Plan B has at times been a little high on his estimates, right? But man, would I love to see Bitcoin get to 400,000 in the next 4 months. I don't think it's gonna happen in 4 months. That'd be insane, crazy. That would be for a lot of people, it would be life-changing money at that point, right? So I would love to see it, but I have a hard time believing that's going to happen. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think we could get to 400,000 in 4+ months of gains? Unless we're talking about 4 months over a certain amount of time over the next year to 2 years or something like that, where we have 4+ months of 40% gains, right? But then we have also months where we have a couple of percentage point gains. Some months where we're down 20-30%, things like that. If that's the case, okay, then that might make sense. But here in 4 months, I don't think it's going to happen that quickly here. But nonetheless, we can dream. That'd be awesome. Next here is from Senator Cynthia Lummis, has urged the Trump administration to eliminate taxes on Bitcoin and crypto companies. That would be great. I'm sure a lot of you guys that have Bitcoin and other cryptos, things like that, if we didn't have to pay taxes on those, that would be fantastic. I had to pay a hefty bill on stock trading from last year. I made money on that. I had to pay a hefty bill on that. That was no fun. It prevented me from being able to buy in the bear market here, which we had the bottom, and so was not happy about that. But Uncle Sam's got to get his, so it is what it is. But this would be awesome as well. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's awesome that they're thinking about those types of things. And then finally here we got two more things I think here right now. Rumor has it that Trump is to declare a zero tax on all crypto companies and investments in the United States. If that's the case, that would be making the United States the crypto capital of the world, where everybody would want to be in the United States at that point to do business here with Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, anything else, altcoins, all that stuff would be coming to the United States. And that would be a huge boom, not only for the United States, but also for Bitcoin, crypto, all of that. Innovation, adoption, everything that you can think of. It would be awesome to have it here. And then finally, the last thing I have is actually a little bit of a downer here. And it's based on CORZ Scientific. CORZ Scientific, in their quarterly results during their conference call at around the 20-minute mark and like 14, 18 seconds, they mentioned that they are no longer going to be doing their monthly production updates. Yet, kind of funny enough, they are still providing the daily operation or daily mining updates for the last 24 hours. So they're still providing that, but they're not providing the end of the month here. So I pose this question to you guys here on X. CORZ Scientific will no longer provide their monthly Bitcoin mining operations reports. Should I continue to cover them or drop them? And 58% of you said that I should drop them. I'm going to let this play out. We have another 12 hours to vote on this. So if you guys want me to continue to cover Core, definitely vote on that. You should be able to find it under my profile there. I'm thinking that we can still possibly cover them if they continue to provide the daily Bitcoin mined update. And I think I can probably pull that up here to show you guys what they actually provide. CORZ Scientific, there it is. So they provide these kind of updates like this one here, right? Self-mined in the last 24 hours, self-mined to date. So we actually get what they mined in the month as well. The only thing is we don't have is what do they hodl on Bitcoin and what was their actual hash rate that they had and not the average. We could probably figure out what their hash rate was average-wise based on what the number of Bitcoin that they mined. We're going to be close, but we're not going to be exact on it. So it's going to be a little bit tougher to track their uptime for installed machines, what their machines are more or less, all that stuff. But we can still kind of track them. So I'm going to leave this up to you guys. You guys will basically dictate the fate of CORZ Scientific and me covering them or not. So if you guys want them to be part of the miners here, definitely vote on that. On this poll here, there's still 12 hours left on that. So get on it if you want them included here. And that is it on the news. So like I said, there's a lot of news that's great. Adoption is great. We're seeing things playing out wonderfully, I think. And I'm more guessing and hoping that the next 6 months or so in this year will be much better than what we have seen here right now. And all of the signs are pointing to it, at least right now. But anything can change on a dime here, as we all know. Things can definitely change drastically with just one little tweet from any one person in power, and things can go sideways on us or go down quickly. So we'll have to keep an eye on everything, and I'll obviously keep you guys posted. But next, let's get into the miners short information that we do have here. This is as of 4:30 of April, so this is always a little bit delayed, about a week and a half or so delayed. And this is what we got here. So we look at current number of shares shorted. Marathon, based on the number of shares shorted there, it has 91 million. Cleanspark about 86 million. Riot 83 million. Bitfarms 52 million. Core 47 million roughly. And then the percentage of average floated shorted. Cleanspark is still number one there. It's at 31.89. It has come down from like 33%, so that one is coming down. BitDeer, I think, has actually increased. We'll take a look at that one, but that one's at 29.89% because Marathon was, prior to that, higher than them. They were in the second spot as far as most shorted. Marathon's now at 27%. Riot is at 25.6%. Then we got CORZ 18, Cypher 15, Hive at 14, Bitfarms at 13, IREN at 11, and Hive at 7% here. And you can see the number of shares shorted change from last time. BitDeer had quite a sizable increase here, 1.6 million added to their short position. Hive 1.17 million, Hut 8.73, Core 0.27. And then we had quite a few that actually came down in the number of shares shorted there. Marathon came down about 500,000 or so. Riot 0.8 million, Cypher about 1 million there. IREN 1.68 million. Bitfarms down almost 3 million here. Cleanspark down almost 4 million from the month or just 2 weeks prior that we covered this. So we're seeing the shorts definitely getting out, at least right now. We'll see in the next 2 weeks, basically from 2 weeks back, as far as what were they doing in this time frame right now, where the miners are nicely going up, Bitcoin's going up as well. We'll see how they react to this. I think we're going to see some more of the shorts going out or covering or whatever you want to call it. This is the share shorted value versus market cap. So Marathon's got a 5.7 billion market cap. They have about 1.5, 1.6 billion roughly shares shorted there. Next highest one is Cleanspark with 895 million shares shorted compared to their 2.8 billion market cap. CORZ has a market cap of 3.7 and 690 million shares shorted. Riot 3.2 with 830. You can see the rest of them there as well. And then here's the percentage change in shares shorted from last review. So Hive actually increased the most here. Hive went up 11.64%. Shares shorted there. Bitfarms actually went down 5.34%. Cypher 2.42 down. Hut 8 went up 5.8. IREN came down 6.26%. BitDeer went up 7.51%. Definitely a sizable increase there. Cleanspark actually went down 4.3%. Riot went down 0.96. Core went up just a little bit here, 0.58, and Marathon came down 0.56 on that one. So we are seeing, we've only seen like what 4 out of the 10 that we cover here go up a little bit or go up quite a bit, and then the rest of them have been coming down here. So we are seeing the shorts come down on this, which is nice. We needed this, and I think it was mainly because miners and Bitcoin kind of bottomed out here in the last 2 weeks. If we look at some of these guys here, let's take a look at Bitfarms here, right? These guys bottomed out April 20, so about a month, right? They bottomed out April 8th, right around the time when the Liberation Day came for April 2nd, right around there. Just a week after that, we bottomed out. Bitcoin, I think, bottomed out around the same time as well. Yeah, right here, the 9th. So they have definitely been, since then, they have at least started to pull back on the shorts. So that's good there. And then here is the review of these guys going back 6 months roughly on the dates here. I made it a little bit smaller, not going back like the whole 9 months or something like that I had it in here, just to make it a little bit easier to see the progress that we're doing here recently. You can see BitDeer obviously increasing here as well. Bitfarms has been coming down in the number of shares shorted there on that one. So that's good to look at. Cypher has kind of been increasing as well. Cleanspark was increasing the whole time here, but finally started to come back down a little bit. We'll see if that trend continues for them going forward. Core has been kind of flat, more or less. It kind of bobs and down between like the 38 million and 40, 46, 47 million or something like that. Hive has been continuing to increase here over time. Hut 8 increasing, but kind of, it's been increasing though. You can see just slight increases each month here for them. IREN has definitely been a little bit more of a roller coaster ride. They've been increasing, decreasing, increasing. Now it's decreasing as well. IREN is reporting, I believe, tomorrow. So we'll take a look at their numbers, what they report. I expect them to be positive EPS, but we'll see. Marathon, right, has been a huge spike here. It's been coming down, so that's good in the last couple of reports. Riot, same thing, has been coming down the last 2 reports, so that's good, and that's it for everybody here. There's all the data that I track on these, and, BitDeer kind of makes sense to me why they're being a little bit more heavily shorted here recently, or having an increase in shorts. And the only reason I say that is looking at their enterprise metrics, or not enterprise, is it enterprise? Yeah, enterprise metrics. BitDeer is still looking pretty overvalued for their current operations. I did upgrade their future hash rate to like 40 exahash based on the A2 miners that they're going to be getting in this year. So that's brought them down here on the future hash rate valuation for, they're looking at enterprise value per exahash basically is what we're looking at here. But currently, they're still being way higher valued on that, along with Core. But Core, I can understand. Core has a huge business with Core Weave coming up here that they're going to generate revenue on. So they're transitioning more into that HPCI data center. That's going to be bringing in a lot more revenue probably from their Bitcoin mining side of things. So I can kind of understand that. But BitDeer is just kind of a little overvalued right now, I think. And even when I look at them here on the numbers that I have for them, they look like they're fairly valued. Yeah, they're showing up to be kind of fairly valued right now as it is at 1443, right between 1232 and 1848, somewhere in the middle right there. They do appear to be, like I said, fairly valued. Not overvalued, but fairly valued. But based on some of the metrics that we look at, they look overvalued. So, yeah, that is it on the shorted. The shorts did they did the right thing. They were shorting them going into this little bit of a correction that we saw here on the miners going down 50, 67%. They made money on it that way. probably should have followed suit as well, but I've never shorted the miners to begin with. So, but if you guys do, that's another way you can play the markets. Short them, go long on them, short them, go long on them, play both ways. So they definitely did well. But yeah, that's it. Spreadsheet's going to be available to my Patreon members as always. Link for that will be down in the description. As always, and then what else? You get access to our private Discord server there as well. And yeah, that's it. Let's get into Q&A. We'll call it a day. This was a good day. I love seeing the stories that we saw here. Love the action on Bitcoin and the miners. But let's get into Q&A here. Let's call it a day. See what we got going on here with Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin's down a little bit. Miners, like I said, had a really good day overall. As always, if you guys could preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, greatly appreciate it. And we will work our way from the top and work our way down on that. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, we got B82 here. Wow, what happened there? Hold on. Something messed up. That doesn't look right. Let's see. Background color. Why did that screw up on me? Bear with me. I'll try to fix it. Okay, I think it was an update. Okay, but that still looks a little weird. All right, we'll work with that for now. All right, I'll have to fix it back. BD2 says, I do suspect as the risk to BTC and MicroStrategy reduce, the short enters will drop also. Easier to short miners than it is to short BTC. Okay, I can agree with you there a little bit. Let's see, Seb, you ready to get rich? All right, I've been ready for a long time, for the last 3 years. Hopefully this end of the year, next year will be the time. What else we got here? BD2 question for the miners that HODL, will they ever be able to 1 BTC than they currently own? Not sure I understand the question. Will the miners HODL, will they ever be able to 1 BTC than they currently own? I'm not sure I get the question there. I might be missing something. Will they ever be able to mine more BTC than they currently own? Oh. In the next, let's see. I mean, some of these guys, well, Mara has like 40-some thousand. That's going to be really tough to mine more what they already own. Going forward, considering that they're mining, what, about 700, 800 coins a month right now. So you're looking at 7,000 roughly to, let's just say 8,000 a year right now. Going forward, you got 3 years left before the halving event, so that's 24,000. Probably not. Cleanspark possibly, right? Cleanspark's mining around 600, something like that. They have 12,000, so they could possibly do that in 3 years if they hodled everything. They could hodl more than they own currently. Riot might be in the same spot. IREN doesn't own anything there, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. All right. Neville says the S&P has recovered its 2025 losses despite tariffs being intact. I think it's safe to say that the sale has concluded. I think so too. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely seeing a nice rebound here, not only in the markets and Bitcoin and miners as well. I think the bottom has been in. Let's see, Gary says, question, as an old guy, should I take it personal? You, Alan, older investor, not as wise. Again, not sure I understand the question there, Gary. All right. What is your price target for BitDeer? It has risen from 6 to 14 already. BitDeer is a tough one. Look, they got a lot of growth happening this year. They're getting a 40 exahash later on this year. They do have some HPCI potential as well. If that goes through for them, it's off to the races, right? Then I think they're going to be pretty fairly valued right now. And I think that's kind of what they're being valued on as well, as the potential there. Based on all that, I would say right now their fair valuation should be around, like $12 to $18. They're at $14. I think they're fairly valued as it is right now. Going forward, I think they're going to be valued much higher as long as they continue to expand like they're saying they're going to expand with the 40 exahash by the end of this year sometime. And then if they get an HPCI deal, we could be obviously much higher than that. We could see them double, triple from here, even more. It just all depends. Okay. Neville's got a question here again. Should Bitfarms shareholders be depressed that Griffin has surpassed them in stock price value? Is their market cap now bigger? Well, being at $1.42, I don't think so. I think they're still going to be Griffin right now. Let's see. Griffin, financials, overview. Let's take a look at it here on the screen. Market cap, 88.76 million. No, they're still not bigger than they are right now. So it's definitely better than what it was. I think they were at like 12 million at one point last week or something like that. So it has improved there, but it's still far from, well, yeah. What is it? Bitfarms is at, where's Bitfarms at? Bitfarms is currently at 588 million. So no. All right, let's see the next question here. Heinz's got a question here. Seb, do you think IREN and Cleanspark are probably the only safety plays right now? All the miners are down most year to date except for Cleanspark. Thanks. Yeah, Cleanspark has been the only one that hasn't been beaten down as much from the beginning of this year down to where we bottomed out last month, right? Everybody else has gotten really, really beat on, 40, 50, 60, 70% down. They, for some reason, haven't, but they also didn't perform well last year. So I think that might be a contributing factor to it as well. Now, as far as IREN, I think is way undervalued already as it is. Cleanspark, the same thing. IREN should be the only one that has a positive EPS. I think they're reporting tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, IREN's reporting tomorrow. That's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we got Bitfarms reporting tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, so it'll be interesting to see what they report also. And then we got BitTBT reporting next day. So I own both of them. I own the Cleanspark and IREN. I own a lot of shares. Today I was finally in the green on IREN, which was nice after being down 20-some% on it to the bottom there. But yeah, I don't know if they're the only ones, because the simple fact is we don't know what's going to happen with the other ones as far as HPCI potential, right? They could get a enterprise customer there, they could get a hyperscaler there, and depending on the deal, it could be off to the races on those guys. So I would say never with those. As far as operation-wise, yeah, I think Cleanspark and IREN are probably like one of the best operators there right now. And the growth is fantastic here, continuing on. So based on that, I would say those are the best operators. Let me see. Neville says, CORZ and will still have to report everything in their quarterly. Yes. Why did they choose to stop reporting their monthly? That I don't know. That I honestly don't know, and I got a sneeze coming up. Excuse me. Something tickled my nose. But yeah, they will report as far as what their hash rate was, more or less, what Bitcoin mined, all that stuff. Bitcoin HODL, they will report in the quarterly results. The reasoning for their choosing not to provide the updates, I think, is because they're transitioning more into a data center player, right, where they're looking for HPCI customers, whether that's enterprise customers or even hyperscalers. They're pushing more towards that narrative. And we've seen that also happen with TeraWulf. TeraWulf got an HPCI deal. They're pushing towards that as well. And they stopped providing those updates. Hut 8 has still not reported theirs as well for April. So they might stop providing those, but I think that will be taken care of by American BTC going forward. So we'll see if anybody else stops providing those going forward. If they do, it's going to make a short list of large companies that are doing it. We'll have to just cover the companies when they provide quarterly results, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of great information. We can see how they're growing or not growing. There's a lot of details there. I think it should be like almost, I think because of the day and age that we live in where computers, everything else is so prominent and information is so easily accessible, I would love to see the SEC say, all companies need to provide monthly updates. What are your sales? What are you doing here? This 3 months out thing is too long out. But that's just me. I'd love to see the data. I'm sure you guys would too. Let's see. Riot 250 says drop CORZ. Riot 250 says Glassnode shows 2.18 BTC on exchanges. That's been coming down, right? The trend is coming down. Question, IREN earnings tomorrow. What are your realistic expectations? I think they're going to be somewhere between 8 and maybe like 14 cents per EPS. Somewhere around there. That's my expectation. On that, they might surprise me, be actually higher, depending on how much they put in for depreciation, things like that. But I'm just ballparking it there, somewhere around there. This should be positive. Okay, question, did Riot pause on Bitcoin mining? The last few HODL sheets, I haven't seen the numbers go up unless I'm not looking at it correct. They did not pause on mining. They are still mining, but they have started selling it, I believe, as well. Riot actually sold a big portion of it here. Let me pull it up here for you guys on this sheet here. So they did increase, let's see, Bitcoin, what did they increase here? I don't have it here. Bitcoin sold. They haven't really sold anything. But let me see here. They've been increasing here, 18.22.1, 18.692, 19.223. So that's been increasing here. And then they had a drop down in April. They sold 475 and they only mined 463. So they sold a little bit more than they actually mined here. And that is just so they don't dilute. I think that's the reason why. To do that, and I think the part of the reason is to maybe attract investors, firms, right? They don't typically like dilution. And with them pausing Bitcoin expansion, as far as installing more hash rate, miners and things like that, and concentrating more on the HPCI, I think they want the stock to move up. So then they have a little bit more optionality. If they wanted to pull on the ATM or something like that, they could do it at that point. But yeah, they're selling a large portion of it now as well. But they're still mining, right? They're still mining. They generated in April 40 million in revenue for Bitcoin mining. On that, going back here. Okay, let's see. Wolf pumping in 50% in a month shows that investors don't care about excessive compensation for leadership. Laughing my back end off. Don't care about, I don't know. Yeah, Wolf reported that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, they were beaten down quite a bit also. So I think that also played into it. If we look at Wolf here really quick on the chart, you can see that they came way, way down from where they were. Let's take a look at it. I should probably show you guys this screen. That would probably help. But from the top here, if you look at it, they got to $9.30. They went all the way down to, well, $2. I mean, that's a huge correction. 78% they went down. So that was one of the higher drawdowns that we've seen here from some of these miners. Others have gone down 70%, 65, 60%. But yeah, 78, almost 80%. That's a huge drawdown on that one. And that's kind of why I think they're catching a little bit of a bid here from the bottom. They did go from 205 or something like that all the way up to here. Yeah, it's 80. No, they're up actually 85% or so from the bottom at least. So they're doing pretty good right now. Kind of rebounding. As everything else is kind of rebounding right now as it is. All right, let's go back here. All right, question from Ryan here. How are your YouTube views right now versus normal bear market, bull market? When we were going to $100,000 in Bitcoin, right, things were looking pretty good, but miners were still not doing great. But the views were larger at that point. I was averaging somewhere between like 2,000, like 3,000, maybe sometimes even got to like 3,500, 4,000 views. Recently, it's been 1,500 to like 2,500 views. And it's starting to increase a little bit here again as Bitcoin price goes up. And I knew that was going to be the case. It's going to be seasonality with this. Bitcoin goes up, people are excited, people start looking, and then when Bitcoin's going down, people are depressed. They don't want to watch it. So that's part of the deal there. Mark says, sorry, CoinGlass shows 2.18. Okay, yeah, should have been coming down. Christian has a question here. Seb still looking to buy DCAs come end of month at these prices, or will you stack cash for eventual dip? Depending where they go. If they get a little too crazy here going in this month, I'm not looking to buy at least until for another, I'm guessing, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Like I said, I just spent a boatload on Uncle Sam. So I've been saving up cash for that, and now I have to pay property taxes, and then I have like a couple weeks after that I got to pay my home insurance, which is several $1,000s as well. So it's kind of like one thing after another. It's just been eating away. It's been eating away at my cash position, unfortunately. KB Dubs, do you see Mara going to $60? There is a possibility of it. I mean, it's at $14 right now, whatever it is. That's basically a 4x. I think there's a possibility for that to happen. Bitcoin has to go to like 200,000, 250,000, something like that at that point. Tom Harrison here. Question, did really good on Hut 8 when the miners went parabolic years ago, but I had 5,000 shares left. That became 1,000 when they did that USBTC venture. I have 1,000 left. Any danger my 1,000 will get split again? No, I don't think that they're going to do any splits anytime soon. That split happened for them. They did it. But yeah, that shouldn't happen here. They're moving the Bitcoin mining side of the business over to American BTC. They got 80% ownership in that. So they're going to benefit from that. If that one does great, if the stock goes up nicely, they should benefit from it, and then possibly some revenues from it as well. Or some way they're going to work that out. All right, Brad's got a question here. I'm still holding a lot of Bitfarms and Cleanspark. What are your thoughts now on these two going forward as BTC goes up? Still hanging in there Am I crazy to think we still see a 4x or better on both? I think the possibility is there. We just need to see the sentiment change on some of these miners, especially like Bitfarms and Cleanspark. Cleanspark needs to have the shorts kind of get out of there a little bit, and then they can possibly run. But I would say Bitcoin goes 2x. I would expect the miners to do at least a 2x also. So if Bitcoin gets to 200,000, I would say these guys should do at the very bare minimum at least a 2x, right? I would more likely think they could do like a 3 or 4x at that point. But they might be there before Bitcoin reaches it. At least last cycle we've seen that where the miners front-ran Bitcoin and got to higher levels before Bitcoin did. So something to keep an eye on, something to watch. But I think it's possible. We just need to have a much better sentiment in the market for the miners here. Andrea, thank you so much for the reminder. If you guys enjoyed this show, hit the like button. It definitely helps a lot. All right, let's see. IREN price target of Bitcoin's at 120,000. Well, we're only, 20%? Not even that. We're only 16% away from that, roughly. That's, depending on what their numbers come in tomorrow and what their guidance is like and what they provide on details for any hyperscaler enterprise customer that's looking to get into their sites, that might jump the stock up quite nicely here. So we'll have to wait and see what tomorrow brings us. Actually, I think it might be tomorrow. It might be actually Thursday because they're reporting at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, so it'll be late. So we'll have to see what happens on Thursday stock price action at that point. All right, let's see here. Question: do you follow Semler, the highest Bitcoin to market cap? I see. Thoughts? Similar Scientific. I do keep an eye on them just to see where the price is going on that, but I know I also follow kind of what they're buying as far as Bitcoin is, but I don't really track them like in detail like I track the miners here. Sorry about the sniffles, guys. Allergies kicking in again. Let's see. IREN to announce a client tomorrow. Why would they wait until the earnings report? If they got a client, report it right away. The stock would be going off. So I don't think that's going to be the case. They might just say that they are in talks with a customer or something like that, like they've stated last conference call as well, where they had hyperscaler email them about interest in their site. We haven't heard anything on that yet. Let's see. Sorry, Melon Gaming, IREN and Cleanspark, dollar percentage wise, as far as what would the gain be, I guess, or $50 possibly for both of those. Maybe 5x. I'd take a 3 or 4x if we could get there. If we get to 50, that'd be great. Let's see, private header. My price in Bitfarms is about 2, so I'm basically stuck, hoping that it will get back there and way higher towards 8 or more. Would you advise I get out at 2 sooner even, or under 2, or later at 6 to 8? Okay, so with Bitfarms, my average is like $1.45, so I'm underwater on that one as well. But I also sold a bunch back in November, December when they were changing their guidance for their 21 exahash target date. So I was selling at that point. I was selling in the green, and then I just kind of held on to it right now. I'm getting close to being back to at least even on what I have left. As far as them getting to $8, the only way they're going to get to $8 is if they can get enterprise customer, hyperscaler, or something like that for the sites they have in Pennsylvania. And they can do some kind of HPCI deal there, right? If they can do that, then there's a possibility it gets to $8. Without that, and them working towards it, they don't have any growth in Bitcoin mining anymore. So the only thing that's going to help them out is Bitcoin price going up in value. As long as that goes up faster than the network hash rate, that's going to be a positive for them. It'll generate more revenue for them, basically, even though they're going to be mining less Bitcoin going forward because the network hash rate continues to increase. So with that being said, I would say let's see where things go in the next couple of weeks on that one. And then you have to decide, right, how close do we get to $2 and how quickly do we get to that? And then can we get beyond that as well? Are there going to be other miners that may outperform? There might be. So you have to kind of look at that as well. Do I take a loss on it now and then possibly go into a miner that might outperform and do better? That's your call there, right? I can't tell you exactly what to trade. I can tell you what I'm in, what I've done, and things like that. But I don't expect you guys. I don't want you guys to follow what I do. I've gone in too heavily and too leveraged. I wouldn't say leveraged, but too focused on the miners. In general, I have pretty much everything in there except for like Bitcoin and Ethereum that I hold. So don't do what I do. I'm an outlier, I guess. the way I look at it is I still have plenty of time. I got another some 20 some odd years of working ahead of me. If I lose this stuff, or I don't think I'm going to lose it, but if it all goes down to zero, I can recoup it in the next 20 years. I'll be okay, right? But if I hit the black jackpot on it, hit the lotto, it's going to be great. Let's see. Trader 504 here. Hi, when BTC hit 19,000, Riot did 46 on last cycle at 59. K Riot did 80, and now BTC is 105. So in the breakout, it can grow. Yeah, it can definitely grow in the breakout. That's kind of, but I'm also being rather, I'm tempering down my price targets on these guys. I want to be a little bit more conservative, actually a lot more conservative than what I've been in the past. And I've been kind of sandbagging things a little bit here, because if we at least get to 2 or 3x on these guys, that'll be great. And if we go way beyond that, that's going to be awesome. All right, so I'm kind of trying to temper expectations a little bit here. Okay, Cobra, have a minor portion in the miners now against the steep recent pullback in the main market, as the real opportunity was with, say, SOXL. Nibis, once these run up, I will rotate more into miners. Okay. All right. What are your expectations for BitDeer earnings coming up? I don't expect a positive EPS from them. I'm guessing for their Bitcoin mining here, I can show you guys what I have for that. For their other side of the businesses, that's kind of harder to track. Where is it at? Here. BitDeer, I'm estimating here. I think I have it in here. Where's it at? Here it is. For self-mining, I'm estimating somewhere around 41 million. So that is an increase from where they went in March as well. But if we look at March numbers for them, is that right? Or March? So let me go back, because this is for March. March is Q1. Self estimate is 32 million. December they had 38 million. So that's down actually in revenue from there, from the fourth quarter. And they had a loss of, what did they have a loss of at that point? A loss of $4.36, but that was the fiscal year end. The loss on Q4, I think, was like around $3.22. So still a huge loss. I don't expect them. They're going to take a hit also on the F8. I don't know if they do the FSB or not, but they might take a hit on that. I don't expect great things from them. Maybe some good guidance going forward as far as potential HPCI customers, right? They already provided us for their April updates that they are pausing expansion in Ohio because they have so much interest from potential customers there for HPCI. So maybe we'll get some details on that. That might help out, and also time frame to get more miners installed and things like that at other sites. So we'll have to see on that one. But I'm not expecting anything positive, at least not right now, as far as earnings are concerned. All right, let's see. Neville says, my average is around $3 in Bitfarms. I'm hopeful this rising tide will lift them high enough. It should in time, right? I'm not going to tell you it's going to happen the next week or something, but I think they could get there this year, potentially. They were at, what, $4, I think, at one point. Let me see here. Where's Bitfarms? There they are. Their high here was recently going back 328. So you kind of bought towards the top there recently. I mean, they were at 391. This was back in February of last year. So it's going definitely way back. This was when Bitcoin was pumping, right? Getting to 73,000 before the halving event. And the miners were pumping also. They also diluted quite a bit since then. So if we get down to around $3, I think that would be pretty good. It'd be basically a 3x for them right now. So if we could see that, that might be pretty good. They might do better, depending on the news that comes out, right? Do they get a customer? All that stuff plays into it. All right, let's go back here. All right, Peter, question: do you think with the shorts decreasing, we'll finally see Cleanspark ROI? If so, what's your projection on them when BTC's at, say, 150,000? Well, that's only 50% from where Bitcoin's at. I would expect them to do at least a 2x, something like that. All right, so they could get to close to $20 or something like that, 20 some dollars at that point. I would say that would be a pretty good expectation, especially if the shorts get off of them. We could even go higher than that, but we just need the shorts to relent a little bit. Okay. Sorry, says, question, get rich or die trying? Yeah, die trying for sure. Tom's got a question here. Seb, the book Atlas Shrugged was written by Ayn Rand. Michael Saylor gave a very moving speech at an annual Random convention a few years ago. I did watch the movie. I saw that the movie was available on Apple or someplace like that. It was a 3-part series, and it is kind of interesting. It's very, very interesting there, how government oversteps its reach and for the public good, right? It's basically communism at that point. Not a great story there over the government overreach and everything else, but just people will always stand up to tyranny, was what I found out of that, which is very, very true. And I hope that's the case in the United States as well. If it ever comes to that, I don't think it will, but if it ever comes to that, I think people will stand up for their rights on that. So, yeah, but I'm sure the book is probably better than the movie. The movie was 3-part series, and each time they had different actors, which was kind of frustrating because you get used to these actors, the faces and everything else, and then you got to deal with movie 2, you get different actors, and then movie 3, you get different actors. Like, why couldn't they just have it all the same actors? Seems like they ran out of money possibly to do all 3, but it's still good story wise. All right, yeah, you're very welcome as always. Let's see. All right, what is your price prediction for Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms, Mara, BTC? Like I said, that's not too far away. That's 40% roughly. Miners should do at that point at least 60-80% increase from where they are right now, something like that. It's kind of what I would expect. They could just follow Bitcoin, be up 40% as well, somewhere around there. So they should at least follow Bitcoin and do a little bit better than that as well. Thanks for keeping on the grind. Yeah, you're very welcome. I enjoy this stuff. I hope you guys do as well. 200,000 Bitcoin at end of year. I think there's a strong possibility that it could get there. It's only at 2x from where we are right now. All we need is a couple of days where we have 10-15% gains or something like that, or just continuation of 5, 6, 7, 8% days for a while, and we're off to the races. All right. Are you expecting more dilution coming ahead from the miners? I am, for the most part. The only one that we know right now that's not diluting is going to be Cleanspark, right? They're going to be pulling on, they're not going to be pulling. They're going to be using the Bitcoin that they mine to fund operations and growth. And then we also have Riot here recently selling more of their Bitcoin here. So that might be another one that kind of puts a pause on dilution here, for at least for the time being. And then we'll see what the other ones do. But the other ones will probably still pull on the A-team a little bit. We'll look at the dilution here once all the miners report their quarterly results. We'll see how much each one has diluted over the quarter. Tom says the book is way better. Okay, yeah, so maybe I'll get the book to read on my vacation when I'm going to be in Mexico for 10 days. That'll give me something to do on the beach. That way I don't get hit by my wife for looking at other ladies walking down the beach. All right, let's see. Do you think Similar Scientific would you buy? I do follow Similar Scientific just to see what they're doing, what they're buying. But I don't know if I would buy it. But that's just me. I don't know enough about them. I know that they're following this strategy playbook as well. But I just don't know enough on them to say, yeah, let's buy into them. I think you can buy in a little bit. They've done actually really, really well here. Let's see if we can find Similar here. Where's Similar? There it is, right there. You can see that they've been kind of all over the place as well. Actually, let me see here. But recently they've been doing pretty good. Similar got to $81 here. This was in December. And it's had a pullback like actually a lot of miners did actually. But did it go down as much as they did? Let's see, from the top to the bottom, it went down 63%. Yeah, so they, pretty much followed Bitcoin going down. And that is a multiple as well. And they're coming back up here. But can they get back up to it? Yeah, possibly. I don't see a reason why not. They're definitely hodling more Bitcoin as time goes on. They're looking to get more as time goes on as well. Gosh, I can't talk with my runny nose here. It's driving me nuts. Sorry about that, guys. I do apologize for the runny nose. It's just sometimes I get these allergies that hit me at certain times. All right, should we wait for a dip in miners? Mara worth 16. I think Mara should be worth much higher than where it's at right now. If we look at Mara alone, just with their hodl position, it is crazy undervalued. So here's Mara right now, based on the numbers, right? Bitcoin value is right now about 5 billion. Their market cap is 5.7 billion. So, you got 761 million for operations, really? For all the sites that they own and everything else, ASICs and all that. Yeah, that still doesn't make any sense. It's 86%, almost 87% out of the market cap. That's still really, really too high there. And they're still growing with Bitcoin mining and everything else. So yeah, I think they're still way undervalued from where they should be. I think they should be much higher. I think they should be like somewhere between 15 and 22. That's just my thoughts on it. With them being currently at 16, I would say they're on the low end side. I think they can still definitely go up higher from here. But that's just me. And then, as Bitcoin goes up in value, they're going to be valued obviously a heck of a lot more as well. All right, go back here. I think I got a couple more questions here. We'll call it a day. Let's see. Got a couple questions up. Okay, talked about that one. Private's got a question here. Going forward, do you think Cleanspark will do a lot better than Bitfarms? Looking at moving forward is the only way we can live. Thanks. I think so. And the only reason I think so is because Cleanspark is still growing. They're supposed to get to like 56 exahash, 57 exahash, and they're talking about getting to like 65, maybe even 70 exahash this year. So they still have quite a bit of growth here happening for them. And they're also not diluting. For that reason, I think the stock is going to possibly do well because you don't have that forced down mechanism on it when they're pulling on the ATM themselves. So I think that one should do better than Bitfarms here. All right. And do you have a high conviction that Cleanspark will very likely do better going forward? I do. It's already done better here in the last 4 or 5 months, right? From the beginning of the year, it's gone down less than other miners has. Ever since they kind of signaled that they're not diluting, that stock has done better than the other miners here. So I do think that they might do very well going forward here as well. Karan says, I told you on Griffin, sold Cleanspark, bought Griffin at 15 cents. Sold at 270, 215, and 150. Congratulations. Nicely played on that one. Right. Yeah, that was a very nice play there. Congrats on that one. All right. When the miners were in the dumps, nobody wanted to buy. Now they're all pumping and people want to FOMO in a tail as old as, yeah. I was talking about the miners being down, right? 40, 50, 60% down at that point. I'm like, we need to change our thinking on this. Right? When we go to the store, I've talked about this, when you go to the store, you see something on sale for 40, 50% off, you're like, man, I'm buying that. But you see a stock that's down 40, 50%, it's like, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. So we got to change our thinking a little bit on this, as those are usually the times to get in on things. Unless you think Bitcoin's going down to zero, well, maybe not the time to get into it. But usually you want to buy in on the dips, right? We don't know where the dip's going to end, but if you just buy in portions here and there and portions there, you're going to get a pretty good price point at that point. So yeah, I was talking about it and I was frustrated that I couldn't buy. I wanted to buy like crazy. But like I said, Uncle Sam needed his money. So it is what it is. I need to have more cash on the sidelines, I guess, instead of continuing to buy in on these things. I need to have, maybe that's a lesson learned there. I need to have more cash on the side. Let's see. You have the sniff of someone who likes white powder. Well, is my nose white? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully I cleaned it off. I'm kidding. I don't do drugs. Never have, never will. I've never even done marijuana. Never did that. I had friends that did it. That never just kind of interested me. For me, it was just regular cigarettes. And, beer never did it for me either. Beer gave me a headache. And then it was just adult beverages, alcohol was my thing. Let's see. Story Hunter says, my expectations at 140,000. Cleanspark at $20. Bitfarms at 260. Mara at $27. Okay. That's kind of where I would think, right? Kind of conservative estimates there. I think that's doable. Okay. Normal One says, appreciate all the work you put into your presentations. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming in, as always. Seb, how high Bitfarms can do with Bitcoin at 250,000? Well, at that point, I mean, we're going up quite nicely here, right? We're going up 150% roughly or something like that in Bitcoin to the top. Bitfarms should do at least a 3x. At the very, very least, it should do at least a 3x at that point. So now we're looking at $3, maybe $4, something like that, maybe even higher. If we get the FOMO into it as well, like we've seen in the past cycles, I mean, they could do better. But that's kind of where I would expect things to be. Gary says, Mara lost 170 million in operations in Q1. How much is that worth with cost of coin at 166? I don't know. I have to run the numbers on it. Story, you're very welcome. Okay, I think we've cut up here and we're going on about an hour as it is right now. So, like I said, we had a lot of great stories that were bullish on Bitcoin, adoption and everything else. Those are fantastic to see. I hope you guys see those as well as what they are. Adoption, adoption, adoption. And that's going to be great for us going forward as well. But we'll see how time progresses. There's always going to be, I wouldn't say always, but there's always going to be a little bit dip, I think. Bitcoin's not going to go up 200 to 200,000 without having some pain in the middle. We'll go up to maybe 140, 150,000, have a little bit of correction, go down again 20, maybe 30%, and then go back up from there. So be mindful of that as well. And we might have another buying opportunity into the miners as well. And if you can time it really well, I can't. I suck at timing things. But if you can time it really well, you might be able to sell the miners at a high price, buy them back in at a lower price, and repeat again. You know, we're kind of seeing this play out here, at least this cycle, where we're seeing more of this up and down on the miners than we have seen in the past, where they just go parabolic in the past, along with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doing the same thing. All right, but that's it. So tomorrow we'll cover, there's going to be a late one probably because I have to pull in the data, but we'll cover Hut 8 and IREN reporting tomorrow, right? They're reporting that. Sorry, Bitfarms, not Hut 8. Bitfarms and IREN are reporting their quarterly results, so we'll cover that. It might be a late stream, depending if I can get the data plugged in really quick. And then lastly, 2 reminder things here is if you want Core to stick around in my metrics and everything else to cover them, vote on them on my X profile. And what else? Hive interview with Aiden Kylik there possibly on Friday. I got to respond back to him to see if that works out for him. But I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. So that's going to be happening. That should be kind of fun. That's never done an interview. Kind of scared about that. Kind of worried. Kind of have a little trepidation about that. I'm sure we'll do fine. But on that, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Have a great night. Until then, bye.